legal? Olha só a surpresa que eu tenho aqui ao meu lado. Julian Absalom. Sabe quem é? 2 vezes campeão olímpico. 2004, 2008, 4 em Atenas, 2008 em Pequim. Olha só que legal, eu estava lá. Depois, 5 vezes campeão mundial. E também 7 vezes campeão da Copa do Mundo. Tudo isso a partir de 2004 em frente. Campeão mundial 4, 5, 6, 7 e 2014. Julian Absalom, thanks a whole lot for you being here, Julian. Thanks a lot. Tell me, what brought you here to Brazil? World Cup in Brazil. Tell me, why are you here in Brazil?
So I'm here in Brazil for sure for the World Cup next week in Petropolis. But I went this week especially because I'm here with my sponsor MTB90. I developed some special grip with them.
O Julian Absalom, para quem não sabe, ele é sócio do Bob Nogueira, que é do MTB90, e eles desenvolveram as manoplas. So tell me about, diga-me, about this, developing grips with Bob Nogueira MTB90.
For sure, the grips are a small component, but really important because it gives you the contact with the bike. To be able to go fast on the bike, you need to handle well your bike. And also it's interesting in cross country to have really light grips. So we work to have a good feeling with the grip, but also the lightest weight as possible.
How is the technology developing different type of athletes, and how you felt in order to be the world champion 4, 5, 6, 7 and 14?
That's really interesting. That's why I love this sport, because the technology is really important. It is a mechanical sport, without motor, but mechanical sport. And our bikes are now really able, and I won my first world title with a 26-inch wheels with V-brake, hardtail frame, and last time in 2014 I won with a full suspension bike, 26-inch wheels, totally different bikes. So it's not the same. The sports are changed a lot because of the material, also because of the tracks. Because before the tracks were longer, I won my first Olympics in Athens in 2 hours 20 minutes, something like this. And now the race are 1 hour and a half. So the sport had changed and the material had changed, and it was really interesting because during my career it was never the same. If you do athleticism, the track is always the same. It's always 400 meters. If you swim, the swimming pool is always the same, but mountain bike is never the same.
By 2004, 5, 6, 7, managers were looking for certain type of athletes. Now, what are they looking for? What do you look for new athletes?
We are looking for the same. As manager, you are looking for the best athletes who can give you victories. Just the profile of the athletes are not totally the same. Before, when I start, we were more like climbers, and now the track are different, shorter, more explosive. So the body weight of the riders has changed a little bit. They are a bit taller, they need more power, but at the end we are looking for the same. We are looking just for the victories. Also the technical skills is really important now, because the tracks are become more and more technical, with artificial section, with bump, with jumps. All the riders have to work also a lot on the technical skills, because the gaps between the riders are really small, so you cannot lose any seconds in the technical section, because you have no chance to catch the group if you lose time in downhill.
That is different by the time you started, isn't it?
Yes, at the beginning when I was racing, it was possible to win a cross-country race with 2 minutes advantage. Nowadays it's not possible. Most of the time the final decision is during the last lap and during the last kilometers, so it's really close. So that makes really interesting races.
For me, I am not a racer, and sometimes I see the way they've been building tracks. I pretty much believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they are looking for spectaculars, big shows, jumps, aerials, and sometimes they could be a little bit more safe with the same side effects of being spectacular.
Yeah, we have in mind that professional sport is a show. We do that for TV, and the interest of the TV, especially Red Bull, that they want big show, they want spectacular things. That's what they are pushing for that.
They never make any mistake on their track.
Yeah, they have to put sometime. It was the case maybe 4 or 3 years before. It was okay. Each trail builders wanna do the more difficult section, the more difficult, tricky section. And now it's more okay, and also because the level of the riders increase, we don't have too many crashes.
In 2004, you won the Olympic race with a natural track. 2008, you won it with a totally built one. What's the difference racing in one type and another one?
For me, the Olympic tracks are not the best
Tell me
tracks.
about it.
If you look at the previous Olympics, it's nice, it's a nice show, but the spectators cannot say, okay, I want to do the same, because it's not possible to do the same. They cannot take their mountain bike and go in the forest and find these trails. So it's nice to have some artificial section, but not 100%. So it's also nice to ride also on natural sections, to have some nice track like Nové Mesto in Czech Republic, Lenzerheide. This track are quite full 100% natural. That's nice. And the World Cup track are, for me, better and more fun to ride than the Olympics tracks.
In your opinion, of course, you're the best. But tell me, the rivalry among you guys. And from my opinion, Julian Absalon is the best in the world. But tell me about who is Nino Schurter and how do you compare yourself to a guy like Julian, Nino Schurter and others?
For sure, he was during my career my best rivals, best enemies and best rivals, and my best victories were always in front of him. When I was winning the race in front of him, it was a huge victory, and I think it was the same when he was winning in front of me. So, and he pushed me, because without Nino maybe I stopped before, because when Nino started to push me and start to beat me, it gave me an extra motivation to work harder again and again to beat him. Because when you win, it's nice, but after a few seasons, you start to it's like normal. You win, it's normal. But when Nino came, it was, for me, it gave me motivation. And I think also him, he was trying to increase my good points, and I was trying to work to increase his good point. But at one season, he was always passing me in the downhills, and I was always passing in the climbs. And the season after, he worked so hard to climb better, and I worked so hard during winter to go down better. And the season after, it was the opposite. So it was really interesting, and really, that's why maybe he pushed me.
Tell me about these inventions that you have done in order to beat Nino and others.
Yeah, I was one of the first cross-country rider to use the dropper seat post, and for me it was really an improvement, because I was able to go faster in the downhill. And at the beginning, where the first World Cup, when I was using it, I did some tests at home with nobody. And when I arrived on the first World Cup with the dropper seat post, everybody were surprised, and I was faster in downhill. And I took an advantage on Nino and on some other riders. And after other riders began to use it, and nowadays maybe more than 80% of the riders are using the petite post.
Tell me about the one something in the back, the taking off the front derailleur.
I was pretty sure that because the track were shorter with shorter climbs, it was not necessary to have a front derailleur, right? To have two rings. And I asked to Shimano, okay, can you put off the derailleur and use only one? And say no, it's not possible. We don't trust in this idea. And so I did one by myself. And after they realized maybe for cross country it was a good option. And now it's difficult to find a cross country bike with two rings. Before, in the 90s or early 2000, the cross country bike were really difficult to ride because the position, the stiffness of the bikes. It was a competition bike only for the top riders. But now, even if you are not World Cup class rider, you can have a lot of fun on the cross country bike because you can easy go up, easy go down. It's safe, efficient.
And again, what makes you faster to win a World Cup, Olympic game? What makes you a champion?
It's a good question. It's a mix of everything. You have to have a good bike for sure, but at this level, everybody starts the competition with a good bike. The setting is important. You have to choose the good tires, the good pressure, etc. And after, it's endurance sport. So for sure, the training, the natural capacity of the riders, and in the head, you have to. If you really want to win, if you are able to push over the limits, that's the goal, and that's the difference between a champion and a good rider.
What about Henrique Avancini? Do you see those skills in Henrique Avancini, our Brazilian?
Yes.
Tell me.
Yeah, I follow him, and for sure he really work hard on the bike, on the gym. He tried to do everything, to count every details, to be at the top level.
What makes France one of the top countries to put mountain bikers, road racers, riders? In other words, what is missing for Brazil?
In France and Switzerland, I think we have a lot of clubs. We are able to take the kids to teach them how to ride, to train them. We have a lot of races, regional races, so they can compete not far away from the live. After the regional level, they can go to the national level with the French Cup or the Swiss Cup. And after that, it's more easy for an European rider because most of the international races are in Europe. So for sure, it's more difficult when you live here because you need always to travel out of Brazil to do some international race. But the potential here is huge because Brazil is a huge country with lots of place to ride. So maybe in the future you will have some big mountain bike champion.
Tell me, what do you think about the World Cup in Brazil and how we can work over it to improve Brazil?
I think we are all happy to race in Brazil because lots of Brazilians are following the mountain bike World Cup. To start the season here in Petropolis in Brazil, it's a huge opportunity for the mountain bike world. It's good for the Brazilian sport, but it's good for the mountain bike world.
There are a lot of young Brazilian kids that are dreaming to be an athlete, a good one, international race. What are the tips for them to be in the eyes of persons like you that choose strong athletes all over the world?
For sure, to try to progress as much as possible, to compete first in Brazil, to make points, and after, as soon as they are ready, if they can find some sponsor to go out of Brazil to compete in Europe, maybe not immediately in World Cup, but in national circuit, Switzerland or France or Italy, make points and to compete against other riders, because at one point if you ride only in Brazil against the same competitor, you cannot improve more.
What happened to you that brought you on the lights of everybody's eye to choose you?
It was really fast because I start late mountain bike. I was 14 years old.
Late?
Late.
14 is late.
Yeah, now
Ok,
it's...
estão vendo, moçada? Com 14 anos você tá atrasado, hein? Tem que começar antes.
And after 3 years, after that, I became a junior world champion. And after that, I became a professional rider. But when I was young, I was never dreaming about that, because I start and immediately in 3 years I become a professional rider. I won my first Elite World Cup as a under 23. It was my second year in under 23.
And there are moments that you have to choose, because you have to give up a lot of your young stage of going to parties, of dancing and everything. Tell me how important it is to choose to get there.
You have to choose. Or you follow your friend for party, or you go and you focus on the competition and you want to perform. But I can say it's a hard choice, but for me it was not a hard choice, because I just did what I love.
They never tried to withdraw you and put in road race, like happens in Colombia. Colombia is not developing in mountain biking because whenever anyone emerged from mountain bike and they put in road race.
It's a little bit the problem now, because when you perform young, in mountain bike we don't have too much money, and the young riders can earn more money if they go on the road, and it's difficult to keep them when they are 22, 23 years old, to keep them in the mountain bike, because they can have some really good off on the road. After my first Olympic title, lots of different world team, road team asked me, but I really love mountain bike. I like to ride my road bike, but it was not a dream for me to become a road cyclist.
Do you commute in your bicycle in your town? Do you have the chance to ride as transportation?
Yes, I also ride e-bikes for instead of my car or instead of my motorbike. I like all the kind of cycling. I can pass from my cross-country bike to my enduro bike to my e-bike to my city bike, and that's cycling, and that's why it's interesting in our sports, because we can switch from one discipline to another one, and there is no wall.
And is it easy for you to commute in bicycle, or you have to, run away from buses and crazy drivers? I remember, I rode a lot in France. Sometimes they really...
For sure, to be on a bike in the streets with the car, it's always dangerous. That's true. But all the city are pushing to for bicycle. They are building some bike lanes everywhere. So, and especially now the gasoline become very expensive. So more and more person want to change and to choose the bike instead of the car.
We pretty much agree with that. You know what's written here? Only bike saves. Só bike salva. Thanks a whole lot.
Thanks.
É isso aí. Bom, nós vamos finalizar aqui. Se você gostou dessa entrevista, já sabe, né? Curta e compartilhe este vídeo. Pegue esse link, mande lá nos teus amigos, nas tuas salas de WhatsApp. Inscreva-se no nosso Kawaii, TikTok, Instagram. Não se esqueça de se inscrever aqui no nosso canal, o canal do Bike é Legal. E já viu, né? Grandes campeões de mountain bike também pedalam. Então, você que gosta de pedalar, seja um grande campeão. Pedale como meio de transporte, treine muito, apareça. Thanks a whole lot. É isso aí, vou bora pedalar. Tchau.
Tchau.